Yes, team, welcome to today's training on how to create an empowering outlook on life. So, I actually heard a great phrase this morning as well. As it was an opening line that Peter used as I've moved into the master trainer phase of ultimate self mastery, and with it being the mastery stage, he said a quote about mastery that actually stuck with me. So he said, but true mastery is spending a long period of time doing things that most people won't, so you can live a life that most people never will. I think that really hit home, that, and it's a great quote to start today with. So that is what mastery is: being able to take time out and do things that most people want, so you can have and be things that most people never will be. So let's work that into our weeks this week. What do we need to do that we're not doing? What do we need to do more of? What do we need to do less of? Who do we need to say no to? How do we get better in terms of our productivity, our management, and making sure that we're focusing on our own lives in our own lane and moving forwards, not being a fucking walking doorbell for other people's lives and other people's agendas and what other people want from us. Let's focus on what we need to do this week, who we need to be around, the tasks we need to get done, what is urgent and important, what's not urgent and important, what we need to do more of, what we need to do less of. And again, review last week. Remember the process we work from: what, why, lesson, apply. Doesn't matter what happens, no one's perfect. Perfectionism is the lowest level of fear. What matters is how we apply the lessons moving forward. So what happened last week? Why did it happen? What lessons did you learn? And how are you going to apply it moving into this week? What went well last week? What do you need to do more of? What didn't go so well last week? What do you need to do less of? But every week we should be reviewing these weeks. If you had a bad week with food, well, food didn't go well and you need to sort that out this week. Loving the pink bowl, Ali. Are those eggs? Are those eggs in your bowl? Good. Ali sent me a message this morning asking me if there was any difference between scrambled, poached, and fried eggs, and the way she had that, and boiled. Actually, we went for four formats. Anyway, let's not get distracted talking about eggs. Now I've lost my train of thought altogether. So food wise, training wise, did we let ourselves down with training? Was training great? How much personal development did we do? The amount of you guys that didn't complete the check-in this week is quite high as well. So to me, if you haven't done your check-in, if you feel like you didn't need one and you're flying, that's great. However, if you're not flying, you're not doing your check-in because you're hiding away and you're not even reviewing the week. So we need to review the week strategically in order to strategically plan the week ahead, because what doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. So if we don't know what went well and what didn't go so well last week, we don't know the metrics, we don't know how many steps we did each day, we don't know how much personal development we did, we don't know how much gratitude we did, we don't know how many days we tracked the food, we don't know how many days we hydrated, we don't know how many days we did walks, we don't know how many days we focused on who needs to show up for us today and why. All those questions that we should be answering every day. And then we've not got a 7-day debrief of that. Well, how do we even know what went well? If you didn't track your food, how do you even know whether nutrition was good or bad? If you don't know how many personal development hours you did, how do you know whether you did the work or not? We have to have these metrics in some format. We have to review the week. Otherwise, we're just burying our head in the sand. So anyway, moving on. So we're going to discuss today how to create an empowering outlook on life that serves your future happiness. Because let's face it, we're all here for happiness, right? Everyone's here for the happiness. That's what we want. So what this means, creating an empowering outlook on life, is again the difference between thinking that life happens for you or life happens to you. So victims think that life happens to them. Achievers understand that life happens for them, and there will always be a gift and a lesson if we're willing to look for it. So we can't change what happens in the world. We can't change situation. We can't change circumstance. But what we are in charge of is how we choose to interact and react. I'll say that again. How we choose to interact and react with the world that we live in. We cannot control situations and circumstance. Ever. Never have been. Never will be able to. Yet some people let situations and circumstances cripple their entire lives. We can't change what's happened. And as long as you continue to blame situation and circumstance for where you are, you will always stay stuck. It's where most people's frustration comes from. We can't control circumstances. We can't control other people. It will never be a straight line to success in any area of life. It will never be linear. Life will always be challenging. Every aspect of life will always be challenging. Every day will be challenging. Every business day is going to be challenging for business owners. We're always going to face challenge. We're never going to get to somewhere and be able to stay there. Relationships are meant to be challenging. You know, if you think you're just going to have a dream business and it's going to just run every day with no problems, or you're just going to meet your Disneyland princess and you're just going to live happily ever after, and there's never going to be challenges in your relationship, that is literally Hollywood Disneyland thinking. It's not real. The most amazing relationships in the world will always have challenges on a daily basis. That's how we grow. Where there is no challenge, there is no growth. So there will always be these challenges. There will always be difficult times. There will always be situations and circumstances and other people that pop up and things that happen that are completely out of your control. So listen to this. You've heard me say so many times, right? And I'm having to do this at the moment myself with the injury, and in so many other situations. You know, how people say, you know, how do you move forward from this? This has happened. How do I control it? Well, we control the controllables, right? You guys know this. If you focus only on what you can control and what you can change, you will feel strong and empowered and assume the role of the warrior or the achiever. If you focus on what you can't control and you can't change, aka other people, aka situations, aka circumstances, the cost of living, what's going on in the news, war and everything else in between, then you're always going to feel weak and disempowered. When you feel weak and disempowered, you're playing the victim. When you're playing the victim, you'll fall into learned hopelessness. When you're falling into learned hopelessness, you're back into believing that life happens to you, not for you. You think you're the passenger, not the driver. And this is what happens. Drop me a yes. Who watched that new there's going to be one new mindset session dropping into the private WhatsApp group every day, the old ones that I've repurposed. And that's just such a perfect example, that one that I shared yesterday about the morning routine when there's a part in it. Today's one's on Monday Motivation. I'll post it after I finish this live. But it's the guy riding the horse of life. And that's a low-level victim or even a disorganized achiever mindset. So the guy goes past on the horse and he, you know, rattling past, and he sees his friend and he says, you know, hi Dave, how's it going? How's everything going? What have you got planned for today? And he says, I don't know, ask the horse. And that's the reality of where victims live, right? They're not in control of where they're going. They're just on a horse at 100 miles an hour. Life happens to them, not for them. They're the passenger guy. They're the guy that calls the Uber, and when the Uber driver says, hey Dave, where are you off to? I don't know, but not here because I don't like it. It's horrible and everything's bad in the world and I can't control all these circumstances. So all of these things lead into that place of being a victim, learned hopelessness, believing that life happens to you, not for you. And that all comes from people that are trying to listen very carefully. This is the first time you've ever heard me say this, right? 1,000,000 times you've heard me say, control the controllables. How do I feel strong and empowered? Control the controllables. What do I do when I'm injured? If my legs are fucked and I can't walk, you train your arms. What do you do if my arms are fucked and I can't lift weights like I can currently? You train your legs and you run up hills and you walk. You always find a way, okay? And I'm going to reiterate it one more time. When you focus on what you can do and what you are in charge of, you feel strong and empowered. When you focus on what you're not in charge of and what you can't control, you feel weak, disempowered, like a victim, learned hopelessness, eventually probably depression. So listen, yes, we need to control the controllables. But what do we need to stop doing? Stop trying to control the uncontrollable. That is the source of 99% of people's pain. Because you will always fucking lose. Some of you are doing it this week, and I'm not even going to call you out individually. But ranting utter shite into your Facebook about situations and circumstances that you can't control. Why? Because you're trying to gather support from other people who want to get on your train, to back you up, to agree with your version and your pictures of how you think the world should be, whether it's fucking the government or schools or the newspapers or whatever. You can't control it. So why are you wasting energy getting angry on social media about things you can't control? Because what you're subconsciously doing is saying, I can't control this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rant about it, and then I'm going to try and get other people that agree with me, or maybe we'll argue, and we'll argue over whose pictures of the world are right, and then I'll use all this energy on that, all that energy that I could have just been spending on my own life. And I only needed it because I was looking for significance and validation, that my views of the world are right, and then certain organisations aren't backing my views, so I'll rant about it, and then I'll find other people who are on my side, and then I'll hate and argue with the people who aren't on my side, and all of the entire thing. And you wonder why you're so stressed, frustrated, anxious, depressed, pissed off, and everything else in between. Because you're doing two things. One, you're trying to control the uncontrollable, and you'll always fucking lose. Two, you're trying to convince other people to be a certain way to fit in with your pictures of the world and how you believe the government should be, and the Prime Minister and all the other fucking shit that you lot watch that I never even listen to, in order for you to be okay. And then you wonder why you're not okay. You try and change your partner and wonder why you're not okay. Try and change your friends and you wonder why you're not okay. You try and change people's opinions and you wonder why you're not okay. You try and preach your model of the world in order to get everyone to agree and wonder why you're not okay when they don't. Trust me, if you want a fast track to unhappiness, try and get another human to behave the way you want them to behave in order to fit in with how you want them to be. That is the number one fast track to unhappiness. Trying to get a person to change to fit in with your model of the world and how you want them to be in order for you to be okay. You may as well spend your day headbutting the fucking pavement. I'm not even joking. You can't change people. You can't change circumstance. You can't change the government. You can't change schools. You can't change the cost of living. You can't change what your ex did. %90 of what you guys are sometimes trying to change, legal courts can't even change. So why are you wasting your time and your energy on it? Stop trying to control the uncontrollables. It's the opposite. And this was the epiphany I had this weekend. 5 years I've been telling you to control the controllables. Not once have I ever said, stop trying to control the uncontrollables. because it's a very different shift. Listen to my language. I'm not telling you to only focus on what you can do. This is a different level. So it's not that you're focusing on what you can't control and feeling like shit as a result. It's the fact you're actually trying to control what you can't control. Not just focus on it, actually trying to change something that you can't change, and then experiencing that anger and that resentment and frustration. So have that on your radar this week. What have you been trying to control that you can't? What have you been trying to be in charge of that you're not? Who have you been trying to change when it's not your right to change? By the way, as a side note, guys, I want you guys to know, and I probably don't say this enough, I don't need you to agree with any of this. This is not about me enforcing my pictures of the world onto you and wanting you to be okay with it. I would much rather one of you called me a see you next Tuesday and didn't agree with it than tried to fall in with what I'm preaching, because this is just the mirror of possibility. All I'm holding up is my experience, my feelings, because then I would be doing the same. I don't need you to not be the way that I've just spoken about. I don't need you to not do those posts on Facebook in order for me to be okay. I'm just holding up a mirror of opportunity and experience and saying, listen, this is my experience and my research on that, and this is probably how it's going to make you feel. What you decide to do with that information is entirely up to you. So, hopefully that's understood the reason why sometimes we do what we do, and I do it as well. Had plenty of rants on Facebook. But also to understand why it maybe not be working and why it may be leading to those feelings of anger, resentment and frustration. I mean, if you're feeling like you did a really long, probably half an hour post on Facebook ranting about the government, and you finished the post and then wasted half your day arguing your point with the people that commented, and then checking back on it to see how many people had liked it, to see how many people had agreed with you, how many people had disagreed with you. If you got to the end of that and thought, you know what, fucking hell, what an experience. What an afternoon that was. I was fucking stiff, porny, moist, whatever. Whilst doing that post, I've never felt so excited. The anger that I got out in that post was so exciting. And then that whole afternoon of sitting on that post and replying to people and arguing that I was right and loving the people that agreed with me and, hating the people that didn't agree with me and seeing who I could get on my side. If you got to the end of that and were like, oh my word, that was an afternoon of joy, passion, happiness and fulfillment. Please can I book myself in for the next experience of that beautiful social media situation at the same time next week? I'm taking the piss, right? But no, you didn't. So what is worth spending time on? If we can get rid of all these negative emotions, right? Because that's a negative emotion. Whatever you're ranting about, whether it is the war, the cost of living, the riots, schools, holidays, the government, your boss, your mother, your sister, your brother, your sister, your unicorn, or whoever, right, that's not serving you. You're using it to get your anger out. Now, if we could just not have the anger in the first place, if we could not have the resentment, if we could not have the frustration, if we could have such a high level of emotional intelligence that things happen and we realize things that just happen, and sometimes we don't even notice because we're so focused on where we want to go and who we want to be and what is serving us. And we could spend an entire lifetime of just having a free tap that accesses joy, fulfillment, passion and happiness 24/7. Would that be worth spending some time on, right? Would that be worth spending some time on understanding that? Would it be better to spend time on that than 4 hours on social media ranting? So, an empowering outlook, an empowering future, and having unlimited access, like a TGI Fridays Coke refill, to joy, fulfillment, and passion and happiness doesn't happen by chance. So those of you that think some people have just got it all together and it's their situation and their circumstances which are different to yours, and that's why they're okay and you're not, Disneyland thinking again. It happens by choice. It doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. So we must invest the time. We must do the deep work to create it and practice it. So we must learn how to create an empowering outlook, but then practice it every single morning. Otherwise, it's just the same as putting the destination in the sat-nav and then switching the fucking sat-nav off. You've created the thing, but that you didn't remind yourself daily. That's why the planner lives on my desk. I have to keep checking back every few hours, every day. Am I doing what I said I would? Yeah. Am I on the right road? Yeah. What does an empowering outlook on life look like, and how do I create it? I can't do this training today, write all this down, and then shut the iPad down and never look at it again, because it will vanish. Especially with ADHD, I've got the attention span of a fucking goldfish. That's why I've got 3-4 million words worth of notes on my iPad, because my brain doesn't retain information. I could watch the most amazing training in the world for 3 hours, and 40 seconds later, unless I've written it all down, it's gone. So you might not need to go to that extent, but whatever we learn, we need to practice. It's reps, right? You want big arms, you need to do fucking reps. You need to do sessions. You need to do exercises. You need to turn your WhatsApp off when you're on a live. You need to practice, practice, practice. If you want to be a mindset warrior, you need to do mindset work every day. Do you need my help? Any check-ins? Do you need my help with anything this week? Yeah, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. How many hours personal development did you do this week? 0. Fucking hell. That's like saying, I can't believe I didn't go for any runs this week and I hadn't gone anywhere. You know, we have to do the thing, whether it's mindset, whether it's food, whether it's training. We have to do reps and reps and reps and reps and reps. So we're going to create an empowering outlook on life, then we're going to need to do reps and reps and reps and reps and reps of how we do that. But as I said, I'm not imposing my beliefs on you, which is what we're going to come on to. I'm not imposing my values in you. I care about you and I want to help you and I give a fuck about you. That's why sometimes I come across a little bit aggressive towards wanting you to do things, but it's because I want the best for you. But like I said, I have no right to impose what I believe. Each and every single one of you is free to message me at any time and say, Lee, I'm out of Unbreakable, see you later. And I'll say, toodle pip, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be your coach. It means the world. It's not about you having to fall in and injecting my values and beliefs on you, but what I'm sharing is my experience and my learning and my knowledge of how I believe we can all create an empowering outlook on life, how we can all live a life of happiness, joy, and fulfillment. So again, I'm just holding up this mirror of possibility today. What you decide to do with that is completely up to you. Because I can't control that. I can't control what you decide to do with the information. I can't control whether you decide to go to the gym this week. I can't decide whether you decide to do the planner, do personal development, complete your check-in, track your food. I'm not in control of that. So I'm absolutely going to, based on my own advice, release any emotional attachment towards that. I don't need any of you to do anything in order for me to be okay anymore. Pretty cool, right? How chill does that sound now? I want you to, because I want the best for every single one of you. And I care about you and I love you and I want you to succeed. But I can't control that. So, where can we start with this today? Well, first of all, let's take the Facebook ranter again. What are you all laughing at? Okay. Could be just a case of changing your focus, right? What are you focused on if you're ranting on Facebook? Anger, resentment, frustration, trying to prove I'm right, arguing with everyone else's model of the world, arguing with reality, smashing your head into a pavement, knocking your teeth out. So it could simply be a case of changing your focus internally in your own life from what's happened or what's happening to what needs to happen. What needs to happen to move? Fuck what's happened. What needs to happen to move forward? Fuck what's happening. I'm not in control of it. I can't do that. I need to stop trying to control the uncontrollables. What can I do? And a very big shift on this as well is if you're focusing on what you're not getting, shifting the refocus to what you are giving. We know this. I'm not going to go over that too much because we've done lots of trainings on growth and contribution. But both of those two shifts will move you from internal to external in a matter of seconds. And I'm going to work through two examples that will teach you to create an empowering outlook on life, which will teach you to move from victim to achiever, which will move you from anger, resentment, and frustration to joy, passion, fulfillment, and happiness. So let's look at two classic examples, the job interview and the relationship ending. Ali, I know you're watching live. I actually showed someone that t-shirt the other day of it saying Lee Freeman ending more relationships than Jerry Springer, and he literally couldn't. It's a mentor I'm speaking to. He literally couldn't stop laughing. He's trying to get me to put it on my Facebook with a post, but I'm still not sure. So the relationship, right? She left me. She left me. She left me. She's in charge. I'm a victim. I'm not good enough. I must have been crap in bed. I must not have enough money. I must not have a nice enough car. I must not have a good enough house. I must not be attractive. I must not be sexy. I'm bad. It's all about me. She left me because I'm not good enough and I'm a total loser. Okay, that's a focus. That's perspective. That's a frame, and that's an outlook on life. I didn't get the job. They didn't like me. I'm not intelligent enough. I didn't have the qualifications. I fucked up the interview. It's my fault. I didn't do it properly. I'm never going to be able to change my careers. You know, no one's ever going to want to employ me. I'm employable. I'm not clever enough. I don't understand technology. Same narrative, different situation, right? So if you're the person that believes your relationship ended because you're not good enough and that's why the other person dumped you, or you didn't get the job interview because you weren't intelligent enough and that's why they didn't offer the job, think right now, deeply, right? This is deep work today, guys, so switch on. Think deeply, what model of the world does that create for you? What's the internal narrative that you're running? What's the space, the mental space that you're operating from? What's the energy that you're operating from? It's massive in relationships, this guy's fear of loss. Some people take all that fear of loss into a new relationship and then they fuck the relationship up before it's even started because they become codependent. And then they've got FOMO, or not FOMO, that's fear of missing out, isn't it? Fear of loss. So the second they get something, because of the place where they're operating from, they're afraid of losing it. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to control the uncontrollable? This is why manipulation and possessive relationships happening. I'm afraid you're going to leave me, so I'm going to check your phone every 2 minutes, and I'm going to tell you what you can and can't wear, and I'm going to scroll down your Facebook, and I'm going to see whose fucking pictures you've liked, and I'm going to fucking check your phone, and I'm going to try and smother you with all this stuff. Classic in relationships. Because they're petrified the person's going to leave them as soon as they get them. And the reason why they're petrified they're going to lose them is because of their outlook of the world, the place that they're operating from, fear, scarcity. And they're low self-worth, self-doubt, fear of loss, all coming from the previous relationship when they believe that the other person dumped them because they weren't good enough. So then they've taken that into the new relationship, and then they've tried to control the uncontrollable and wonder why it goes wrong. That's a whole nother training anyway. But when people have created that, whether it's the job interview or the fat loss plan or education or health or the relationship or the career, it's because of the model of the world that they're operating from. They don't have an empowering model of the world. They believe that everyone's nasty and people are out to hurt them and they'll never be happy and they're not good enough and it's their fault everything went wrong. That's the narrative they're running, and that's the model of the world that they take into life on a daily basis and wonder why things go wrong, because they're trying to control the uncontrollables, and when they can't, they get angry, they get resentful, and they get frustrated, and probably then rant it out into their Facebook and waste half a day on more negative energy. So look at how we could flip that to create a empowering outlook of the world. Thank God she left me. Thank God she showed me my worth. Thank God she's made room for someone that's going to love me the way I deserve to be loved, not the way they want me to be. Thank God she's made room for a life of love, passion, fulfillment, and true love, rather than the toxic one that I was living with, someone who was trying to control me. God, I'm so glad I didn't get that job. Since I got that job, I've just realised it wasn't right for me, and the energy was right. And of course they didn't value me, because none of our values aligned. It wasn't the right job and it wasn't the right company. Thank God I didn't end up there. It would have been a nightmare. Can you see how those are all perspective shifts based on your model of the world? Again, I spoke about this very openly, and I've struggled with it at points. So like I said, like, if you're feeling this and you're struggling, I get it. But, you know, when Nat and I separated, I could run two separate narratives, right? And it's been fucking hard, guys, I'm not going to lie. But I can run, and I don't get it right every day. I can run two separate narratives with exactly the same situation. Oh, God. I can't believe I'm 29 years old and starting out in life again. Or I can say, God, I'm 29 years old and I've got a new chance, a new opportunity. I'm starting out in life. This is a fresh start. Okay. 41. But you get what I'm saying. 29, it wouldn't really matter, would it? I know. Carl cannot believe I'm 29. The baldest, greyest 29-year-old in the world. Got good teeth, haven't I? Anyway, moving swiftly on. Before we start talking about 12-year-olds calling me turkey teeth because I get distracted. 21, Carl, yeah, 21. Carl, I've just taken 25% off your monthly subs. So anyway, it's all perspective based on the model of the world. So you can see it that I'm 41, life's over, my relationship's ended, I'm going to have to start out again, this is all just a nightmare, everyone hurts me, everything goes wrong, I'm no good at relationships, yada, 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 giving myself a fucking headache just talking about it. Or you can flip the entire perspective, new beginnings, new starts, 41 years ahead of me, everything is amazing, everything is positive, it just wasn't meant to be, these are the lessons that I learned, what happened, why did it happen, how am I going to apply them moving forwards? Exactly the same as what I discussed about everything in our weeks at the beginning. So it all comes down to perspective and how we want to shift it, how we see the world, how we perceive the world, how we perceive other people. All of these things come down to perspective and the outlook that we create. And as I said, that's not created by chance, that's created by choice. So empower yourself today. If I want you to take one thing away from this training today, I want you to empower yourself to believe that wherever you are is great. You are exactly where you should be based on your experience of life so far, based on the tools that you've been given to you. There's no right or wrong. There's no good people or no bad people. There's just fucking people. Everyone is just doing their best. I'm doing my best. You're doing my best. You're doing your best. Every single person is doing their best with the tools that they have available to them at this moment in time, right there, based on the experiences, the coaching, the knowledge, and the support they've had so far. We are exactly where we should be, every single one of us. So first of all, I want you to ground yourself with that and understand wherever you are, it's great. Wherever you are, it's enough. But there is always something better. That's what I really want you to empower yourself towards. There's always more joy, more passion, more fulfillment, more happiness, more wealth, more growth, more contribution. There's always more. But everything happens for a reason. But you can empower yourself to think it is what it is and life's always just going to be this way and that same old story and that same narrative. Or you can empower yourself to believe that there's always something better. There's always a higher level that you can get to. This is the art of stretching. Go back and watch the full hour I did on the art of stretching. There's always a new level, and moving towards that and trusting the universe, because we have an empowering outlook of the world, is what make it happen. Now, what governs your life? Drop me a comment. There's two things, two key things. Fucking hell, there's loads of people chatting. Jan on the beer already? What's he on about? I'm going to close the comments anyway. Let me know in the comments. Oh, it's water. Jan's on the water. Good. That's a bit posh. Is that Pellegrino or whatever it's called? Posh water. In Devon water. Has it got clotted cream in it as well? Anyway. Chat back off. Distraction boy. So let me know in the comments, what are the two things that govern your life? What are the two things that govern your outlook on life? What are the two things that I would actually say govern your happiness? In fact, I'm going to go even deeper. What's the one thing that governs your happiness? Let me know in the comments. What's the one thing that governs your happiness? There's going to be a little bit of a delay. I can see you all typing. Jan, my actions. Yeah, not what I'm thinking of though. Stacy, control. That's why you're struggling. Stephen, Jago, his son. So I can pronounce it now. Jago, I can say it right. Please tell me I said that right. Not Jargo. Not with my R in it. I bragged about on that podcast. People try and keep huge boundaries with their clients. I know all my clients' kids' names. I mean, I fucking pronounce half of them wrong, but I still know them, right? Jago. Jan, Hooch and Vader. Hooch and Darth. My mindset. Yeah, all good points, all wrong. All wrong. And I need you to all agree with me now, because I need your model of the world to match with mine in order for me to be okay. So listen the fuck up. Joke. So the house being Stacey, the house being clean. Stacey, your house is beautiful and it's always clean. No one's got it. What governs your life and your happiness? Stacey, you massively try and control the uncontrollable, by the way. I'll message you later. That's where you're. What did Matt say? We call Stacey Tesla. She goes from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. That's where your 0 to 60 in 3 sessions with your anger, resentment, not resentment, anger and frustration comes from. Because very often, Stace, you're my best friend and I love you. You're trying to control. You try to control the uncontrollables. That's it, isn't it? We've almost nailed this. This is a private training for Stacey Pears. Check her out on Instagram, pearsbrowse.com. Only joking. She paid me for that. She didn't. So, what governs your life and your happiness is your beliefs. Everything we've talked about is your beliefs. And do you know why it's such an insane subject? Because every single person's beliefs are different. So how the fuck can we have models and systems and coachings and all these things and aim to fit everyone in one box and everyone to be in one box and everyone to be in that same box in order for everyone to be okay, when every single one of us has a different set of beliefs? And what governs our life and our happiness is our beliefs. Let's look at what every single person believes they can and they can't do. Just like my grandfather, Henry Ford, said. Either you think you can or you think you can't. Either way, you're right. So why do millions of people think they can and millions of people think they can't? Their belief. Why do some people happy living in houses that are absolute dust and tramp zones and look like you wouldn't put 6 cohabiting students in there, and yet Stacey's house looks like a crystal clean IKEA showroom that you could eat your food off of the floor? How is it all so different? Why does one person believe they need money to be happy and one person doesn't? We're all different. But here's what we need to do today. And if you do the deep work on this, it will change your life. Challenge your beliefs. How long have you been running the same belief patterns for without challenging them? Drop me something you believe in the comments now. Okay, drop me something positive you believe, drop me something negative you believe. In fact, whilst I'm talking for this 10 minutes, Stacey Pears, Stephen Brooks, Jan Turner, Carl Apps, who else is here? I can't read them all out. James Corton, not James because he's driving, Jessica, Julie, and everyone else, and just all the J's in the house, Deborah, Debs, Debbie P. Drop me a belief. No one can see them on the live recording, by the way. So they'll be like, oh, I wonder what they said. Drop me a belief. And I don't want just the positive beliefs. I want something you believe about life, something you believe about relationships. Be honest. Don't all act like mindset warriors. Yeah. Right, I'm going to carry on talking. Keep going with that. So a belief might be all rich people are bad. Okay? A belief might be I'm never going to lose weight. A belief might... Stacey Pears, a belief might be I think I'm fucking right all of the time and everyone has to agree with me. If not, I'm going to kick off. Carl, I believe moaning people should shut up. Now we're getting there. I believe all rich people are... I believe all rich people are evil. I believe everyone else is out to hurt me. I believe all men are cheats. I believe all men are the same. I believe every man's a narcissist. That's probably the most popular belief in the world at the minute. From millions of women who, before social media was a thing, narcissists weren't even really in existence. Where's that belief been created from? Hands up if you knew what a narcissist was when you were 21. Hands up if you'd even heard the word. Belief created through social media. Belief created through other people. Just because someone's a fucking arsehole who mistreated someone doesn't make them an ex, but it's made everyone that thing because it's a belief that's being created. Everyone in our family has always been big. I am a technophobe. Nothing ever works out for me. All men hurt me. Anyway, I'm going to stop. But loads of beliefs there. We'll come back to this on full circle. Got 20 minutes. So many people... Right, I'm turning the comments off. I believe many people, this is a belief, many people spend half their life trying to prove that their beliefs are right. And I've done that. When I'm talking about the Facebook ranters, and there's lots of them, what they are trying to do is they're spending half of their life on social media trying to prove to the world that their beliefs are right. That's because they're more addicted to the basic human needs of significance and validation than they are uncertainty than the human needs for growth and contribution. So if you scroll down your newsfeed now, this is on your radar today, you'll see this. All of a sudden, you'll see hundreds of people, whether it's subconscious or very open, trying to prove that their model of the world is correct. Trying to prove that a decision and that someone else has made is wrong. And then arguing about it. And if you are that person, you know, if you are constantly trying to prove you're right, Stacey Pears, and you're constantly trying to argue that your way should be the way, and you're trying to just get everyone to agree with your opinions, then just stop. Because everyone is always going to have different beliefs. And as I said, the fast track to happiness is trying to get other people and everyone else to fit in with your version of how the world should be. It'll always just cause friction. So stop trying to sell your beliefs, positive or negative. This happens in both ways, right? Fucking hell, like I know it was a joke with Ali and Marie getting that t-shirt saying Lee Freeman ending more relationships than Jerry Springer, but that has happened a lot. And do you know why it sometimes happens? Because people come on board and they discover personal development and they discover nutrition and they discover training and they discover this amazing positive peer group and they start looking better and they start feeling better and then they realize they deserve better. And then they literally fall out with their husbands or wives because all of a sudden they found this amazing thing that they love and they've decided that now their husband or wife needs to get fit. Their husband or wife needs to start eating healthy. Their husband or wife needs to start a business. Their husband or wife needs to start doing personal development. Their husband or wife needs a morning routine. And their husband or wife must do all of these things that they now believe in because they've had the training in order for them to be okay. And if not, they're a fucking loser and they need to sort themselves out. That's the pattern that runs with a lot of people. As soon as they discover something that's good, rather than just holding up the mirror of possibility and saying, hey, this is great, I'm a lighthouse, want to come and join me because it's fucking great fun over here. They say, no, I'm the tugboat. My way is the way. And you need to come my way and come and sit on my ship. And I'm going to fucking drag you until you're there. And until you do, I'm not going to be okay. That's why it happens. Now, what I want to get across to you guys, so to stop, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's life, stop trying to sell your model of the world to other people. It's because you have an overbalance of the first human need, which is the need for certainty. I've said this before. This is why some people will stay in a toxic, abusive relationship, because they're more addicted to the certainty of having that and it being safe than the uncertainty of potentially being lonely, but standing on the beach and diving into the sea and actually swimming towards a sunset for true love, passion, and fulfillment. They'll just keep the sand between their toes in the toxic, unhappy thing because at least it's safe. At least it's certain. That's why people do it. So again, if we have an inappropriate need for certainty, which is the first human need, then that's why we feel the need to disagree with everyone. That's why we feel the need to prove that our model of the world is the right model of the world. Why? Because we have an inappropriate need for certainty, and an inappropriate need for certainty means that we need to feel secure. And the only way we can feel secure, Stacey, is by proving that we are right. What we say works. Our model is the best. And we all do this, Stace. I do it, so don't beat yourself up. I did it in my relationships. I'm into personal development and business and growth, so I need you to be in order for me to be okay. No, that was wrong. I can talk openly about this to now. I was virtually forcing that into trying to do things on social media. Forcing into business. Forcing into watch this book, read this book, do this. I need you to watch this. Basically, this is me being really honest now, right? I need you to be like me in order for me to be okay. That's fucking wrong, guys. That's the fastest route to unhappiness. Live and let live. You can't change people to fit in with your model of the world. Just live your life. Be the lighthouse. Be the invitation. Be the mirror. Be the example. But you can't hold on to the emotion of creating an outlook, creating an empowering outlook in life, but then needing everyone else to have the same one in order for you to be okay. So the next time you disagree with someone, I'm going off on a fucking huge tangent here, as per usual. Next time you feel the need to disagree with someone, Jan Turner, you do this. Next time you feel the need to rant, next time you feel the need to fight, next time you feel the need to put the world to rights, get your point across, prove you're right, call someone out, think about where it's coming from. Where is that need coming from? Where is this action coming from? Because we have there's some piss take stuff in here, by the way, guys, don't take it too seriously. But people develop a global belief based on an isolated situation. Best example. Millions of women. Sorry, ladies. Most of them soul-sucking wine fiends on dating apps that need a man to be happy. No apology. Whilst looking for a man, having a global belief, arsehole handed to me, screen time up 38%. Having a global belief that all men are narcissists, all men are cheats, no man can be trusted, every man in the world will ever hurt me, whilst looking for a man. All men are time wasters. All men are after one thing. Not interested in X. Don't waste my time if Y. I have trust issues. I have this. I've taken all of that baggage and creating a global belief based on, even if it was 4 or 5 men that had cheated on them. How many fucking men are there in the world? Somebody tell me, I'm interested. Or women. This isn't a man or a woman thing, guys. Fucking no female clients left by the end of this live. Unicorns. We'll start using unicorns so it's PC. That's it. All unicorns are fucking cheats. All unicorns just fucking want one thing. All unicorns are narcissists. You can't trust unicorns. And X, Y, and Z. So global belief on a situation. I'll never be rich. I'm not clever enough. No men will love me. I'm not good enough. I can never lose weight. Global belief. Question on my application questionnaire. What have you tried and it works? What have you tried to lose weight that hasn't worked? What's the most common answer? Everything. Nothing ever works for me. That's the question actually says, this is my qualification question, and I don't reply to applications if they don't answer it correctly. What have you tried before to lose results, and did it work for you? Most common answer, everything, and no, nothing ever works for me. So it works for millions of other people, but not you. That coach who you've just slagged off that you worked with before me has results with hundreds of people, and I know him personally, but his plan didn't work for you. Just like keto didn't work for you. Slimming World, Weight Watchers, Cleanse Plus, Herbalife, Juice Plus, any of the other shite that's on the market that is shite, but still works for a period of time if the person adhered to it. Didn't work for you. Nothing ever works for me. So what's happened is the person has had a situational or circumstantial experience. They signed up for something and didn't lose 400 stone in the first 4 weeks, so they quit and went back to drinking wine and eating pizza and talking about how all men are cheats. Sorry, ladies. But then they created a global belief that they can't not drink on a weekend, that they need wine, that all men are cheats, that they can't trust anyone, that everyone they gets close to hurts them, that they're never clever enough to change their job, and that everything that they've ever tried to get where they want doesn't work because nothing ever works for them. Global belief based on a few small situations. So start to think about your beliefs that you've created and how you challenge them today. You guys know I like to inject a bit of humour into this, so don't take anything to heart, please. But hopefully you've been running some of these beliefs, and now that mirror's there, you've gone, oh my God. Do you know what beliefs I used to run? I used to run a belief called, I'll never be happy. I'll never have a happy relationship. Nothing ever works out for me. Everybody that I love always leaves me. So guess what? I'm just not going to love people because it's safe and it's secure, and I have an inappropriate need for certainty because it makes me feel secure. So I'll just not love. I'll just not trust. I'll just not try. I'll just stay safe. Because I've created a global belief based on a few situations. Everyone that loves me always dies. No, a couple of people, 3, 4, maybe 5, over 44 years have. Global belief, isolated situations. I can't lose weight, isolated situations. I have trust issues, isolated situation, global belief. Nobody will ever love me. I'll never be happy. I could go on and on and on. But once it becomes a global belief, guys, if you never challenge your beliefs, if you never challenge the patterns that you're running, if you never challenge the narratives and the stories that you're talking, then it will never change. You'll never shift it. And it will become so ingrained as part of your identity that it will become who you are. And then we're back at the start, the victim in learned hopelessness, operating from an outlook of the world that's based on situations and circumstances that are uncontrollable, which is leading to a mindset perspective of anger, resentment and frustration rather than joy, passion and fulfillment. You end up living in a place where you judge people and situations before even giving them a chance. I had an email last week and from a woman who was virtually suicidal and depressed. Both her ex-partners had cheated on her, the most recent one with her best friend. And she'd had to move house and it was horrific and she was depressed and she was the lowest she'd ever been. And she'd watched 3 or 4 of my podcasts and she was completely inspired. She wanted my help. She wanted to talk. She wanted to book a call. And then guess what she finished her email with? A nude. No, I'm only joking. She finished her email with, but I'm skeptical about life coaches. I don't really like coaches. I don't really like mentoring. I'm really apprehensive about spending any money. Everything that I've ever seen like this feels a bit cult-like. I've read this and I'm just not sure it's for me. I don't want someone to take advantage of me in the situation I'm in when I'm feeling this low, because I've done it before and people always rip me off. Thanks for your application, X. I'm really sorry, I'd love to help you, but I don't think you're a good fit for my coaching plan, nor do I feel that I can help you. I wish you all the best. You can't bring that level of global belief into wanting to change. But what's happened? One man has cheated on her. She's probably had one bad experience with a life coach, and yet she's created a global belief that has eventually become part of her identity. And we all do this. So wrapping this up to end, let me just... Neil. Sorry guys, we're in quite a good flow here, aren't we? Hey buddy, it's Lee. Just jump on Zoom when you're ready and come in the meeting if you're here. And then as soon as I've finished, you and I will carry on. We finished about half an hour. So we've created a global belief, right? So if we look to shift these beliefs, we're back at my not grandfather, Henry Ford. This isn't new stuff, guys, right? That is the most simple belief shift in the world. Either you think you can or you think you can't. What if you started to operate with such an empowering outlook of the world that you firmly believed that you could achieve anything? That you firmly believed that we live in a friendly universe and the universe always has your back. If you firmly believed that you love everyone and everyone loves you. If you firmly believed that you gave love and trust without any expectation of receiving it back until a time came when it was time not to give it out because it hadn't been respected, but also to realize that that's not about you. Just because someone's hurt you, you can't not trust a new person. Just because somebody's cheated on you, you can't believe that all people are cheats. Just because one fat loss plan didn't work, you can't believe that all coaches are terrible. Just because one life coach ripped you off, you can't be skeptical about the new one. What lessons did you learn? Why lesson apply? Did you speak to 3 of that coach's previous clients and get a testimonial? Did you research? Did you take your time? Did you book a call? Or did you just drop your money on some flashy Facebook advert and then wonder why it went wrong? I've done that a few thousand times as well. So what if you just believed that everything was a challenge in order for you to grow? That there aren't good people or bad people, there's just people. So ask yourself that question today. When did you last question your beliefs? When did you last question the patterns that you're running and why? And when did you actually interrogate yourself? Is that real? Nobody will ever love me. Is that real? No, of course it's not. I can't lose weight. Nothing ever works for me. Is that real? No, of course it's not. All men are the same. Is that real? No, of course it's not. All women are the same. Is that real? No, of course it's not. They're not real. Interrogate the fuck out of your beliefs and figure out which ones are serving you and which ones aren't. Is it time to create new beliefs? If so, what are they? What beliefs do we need to sack off and get rid of? And what beliefs do we need to start developing? Got itchy nose. And when you look into them, are your beliefs even yours? Do you really believe that all men are cheats, or did you just get cheated on by one man? Do you really believe 90% of the things you believe, or have you just been told them repetitively by other people so you fall in line with them? I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole just yet. So I'm going to try and rattle through this now as fast as I physically can, because I've got 14 minutes. This training is way too long. So what else builds into beliefs? What builds into beliefs is values. Values and beliefs are so closely aligned, but they're not the same thing. But also, our values and the rules that we create around life, as well as our beliefs, play an absolutely massive part in our day-to-day experience. Your values, rules, and beliefs will play a massive part in the experience of life that you have today, that we should all be truly grateful for, because it could be lost in a moment. But again, very often our rules, our values, and our beliefs aren't even our own, and they can go unquestioned for years, since the age of 7, and very often they've been created by other people, as I said. So we need to learn how to invalidate our false beliefs. If you don't give love, you're never going to get love. This is why those women are fucked. Sorry, ladies. If you're not willing to give love because you think it will be abused and you'll get hurt, do you think anyone's ever going to love you? Is anyone ever going to give something freely and easily to you that you're not willing to give to them? If you go into a situation not trusting, do you think you're going to attract not trust? Or do you think you're going to attract trust? If you believe that there's not enough money in the world and that all rich people are evil and you operate from a scarce position of scarcity, do you ever think you're going to attract wealth and abundance? Are you going to attract your dream partner running around telling the world how all members of the opposite sex are evil, everyone's always hurt you, nobody can be trusted, and whatever other negative narratives you want to tell. It's hardly a fucking calling card for a dream partner, is it? We have to give without expectation. You're gonna get fucking hurt. You're gonna get lied to. You're gonna get cheated on. You're gonna not get the job. You're gonna ask the girl out and she said no. You're gonna get let down. It's just part of life. We can't create these rules around that we need everything to be a certain way in order for us to be okay, because we're back at what I've talked about earlier. You guys know how my head works. We're back at trying to control the uncontrollables. I'm happy to get into a relationship with a woman if I can guarantee that she's the one, we're going to live happily ever after, she's never going to cheat on me, she'll fall in with everything that I want, she looks a certain way, she acts a certain way, she behaves a certain way, and if all of those things are lined up, then I'm happy to get into a relationship. If not, all women are fucking narcissistic cheats who can't be trusted. Can you see how flawed the model is now? And you can apply this same model to every single situation. Let's take rules that you guys might make as clients, or rules that a prospective client might make before joining on board with me. So we can make rules around health, right? Rules around fitness and nutrition, or what we make healthy mean. Healthy could mean going for a 60-minute walk every day, drinking a glass of water, being grateful, practicing gratitude every morning, making healthy food choices, and I feel healthy when I just breathe in fresh air and oxygen. Or we can make the rule around health, or what we need to do to get fit, or what we need to do in order to be able to join a plan to lose weight. We can make the rules that I need to train 7 times a week for at least an hour. I need to diet every day. I need to join a gym. I need to lose weight every single week when I step on the scales on a Sunday. I need to PB all my lifts every week. I need to give up booze. I need to give up junk food. I need to stop eating out. I need to stop taking drugs. I need to stop going to parties. I need to get rid of my toxic peer group. I need to get rid of this person. My husband needs to join me on the journey. I need to get 12 clear weeks in my diary so I can fully commit and get all my ducks in a row. And then maybe I'll take action and either get started or feel like I'm good enough when I'm going to do it in order enough to stay motivated to keep going. That's the very real, honest set of rules that a lot of people apply to health, and why they either get started and then stop because they don't feel like they're good enough. Same theory as the person dumping you or not giving you the job. It's not the situation, you're not in control of that. It's your version of the world and how you see it and choose to react within it, and that's your responsibility. So what about if we switch the rule to, I need to do 10,000 steps, I need to reduce my alcohol by 50%, I need to exercise 3 times for 45 minutes per week, I need to stay under 2,000 calories, and I need to understand that life will always be challenging, every week won't be linear, and I'm just going to try and do my best. 2 very different sets of rules between health and fitness and what's going to get you started and what's not. Set of rules around relationships. The one I just said there, or I'm just going to go into each communication openly with love and trust, and what will be will be. I'm not going to try and control. I'm just going to give from a heart that's full. I'm going to love and trust like I've never been hurt. I'm going to dance like nobody's watching. And what will be will be. Wow, what a different set of rules. Not some people literally have this. What's this thing at the minute as well? The biggest coined phrase of the last 22 years. Red flags. What the fuck? Humans psychoanalyzing other humans, what they do, how they speak, what they say, how much money they earn, what they drive, where they live, about their ex, how they dress. Like Stacey will be absolutely pissing herself listening to this because of conversation. We can't have private conversations here, but something that I said ages ago. So basically, most people, rather than just thinking, I want this to be based on love and connection, they create almost a 3-page checklist of what their partner would need to have, down to looks, height, age, sex, social status, how they dress, how they speak, whether they're funny, all of these rules in order for me to consider going on a date with that person. Not, oh, I'm just looking for true love and connection, nothing else. And then they create another set of rules called red flags. So I need this person to be all of these things in order for me to consider loving and trusting them. And I need them to not be all of these things. And I'm wondering why I'm angry, resentful and frustrated, whilst also running a narrative that everyone in the world shouldn't be trusted and will always hurt me. Like, you have to let go of those rules. You can't have rules. We've spoken about this. Love is love, right? Love is unconditional. It can't have conditions. It's not I love you if X. It's not I'll love you if you can prove Y. It's just I love you. That's it. You know, to be happy, you could have a rule that in order to be happy, I just need to smile. Because when I do, people will smile back. Like Jan and Stephen are smiling back now. And it will allow me to experience happiness. Or I can run a narrative that I need a brand new black Land Rover Defender in order to feel narrative, even though I've got £4.53 in the bank. Which one's easiest? Which narrative is making it easy for me to feel happy or not? 2 sets of rules, very different outcomes. I need to get out for 10,000 steps every day, track my food, train 3 times, and do 4 hours personal development in order to feel like I'm good enough. My mental health needs to be completely healed by Friday. I need to do 90 minutes personal development every day, and I must be exactly 63.4 kg when I step on the scales on Sunday morning. If not, Lee's a cunt, the world's bad, everyone's evil, no diet plans work for me, all men are narcissistic cheats, and I'm not good enough. All because the scales didn't say what I wanted them to say. And my partner didn't agree with me. 2 sets of rules. You're all laughing, but they're all real. Most people's rules make it impossible for them to feel happy. Drop the conditions. Drop the conditions that you make on yourself. Because people's rules make it impossible for them to feel and experience love. People's rules make it impossible for them to trust. People's rules make it impossible to make them feel like they're good enough, which is the reason why they feel the way they do in the first place. Because they're searching for security and certainty. And the only certainty that I can ever give you is that life will always be uncertain. So what people say is, I'm going to have to wrap this up, guys. So when I'll reshare it. I did a training about 4 years ago called The Fallacy of I'll Be Happy When. And that's a narrative that most people run. We can say, I am happy, I am enough, I am good enough, I am grateful, I am loved, life is amazing, all I need to do is smile and I can feel happy. Or we can say, when I insert thing that they need to get, experience that they need to have, when I weigh 50 kilograms, I will give myself permission to feel like I'm good enough. When I have been in a happy relationship for 12 months, I will give myself permission to say I'm loved. When I get the job, I will give myself permission to feel like I'm good enough. So when I insert the thing, I need insert the rule, I'll give myself permission to feel the value. Does that make sense? It's all based on needs, values, and beliefs. So basically, we're saying I need to have and get a certain thing, and that must fall in line with all these rules and stipulations. And when all of that happens, I will give myself permission to feel a certain way. Very much like Stacey, I know you were joking about it, but if everyone agrees with me, then I'll give myself permission to feel happy, intelligent, validated. And until everyone agrees with me, I'm going to argue until I feel validated. So what I want you to do, and what I'm going to wrap this up on today in the last minute, okay? Ask yourself these questions. This one question, right? What is most important to me in life? Take half an hour out and journal it on a paper. Is it health? Is it family? Is it love? Is it money? Is it fun? Is it sex? Is it growth? Is it contribution? Is it sport? Is it your career? It's different for every single person. Okay, that is your values. Another quick way, if you want to know what you value, is to go and have a scroll through your bank account. Very quickly show you what you value. If you want to realize whether you value health and fitness or not, get your kit off and go and stand in front of the mirror. Those two things very quickly will show you your values and the amount of time that you've not identically for every person, but generally the amount of time and effort that you've invested in that area of your life. Another way is your schedule. Look down your schedule, and your schedule will tell you a perfect reflection of what you value. So we then have to make sure they align or not. We can't say we value health, fitness, personal development, growth, contribution, fun, and personal development, planning, whatever. And yet very quickly our social media shows us that we spent 4 hours last week arguing, being angry, resentful and frustration. Your actions aren't matching your values. That's why you have chaos in your head. Because you're saying you have one set of values, but your behavior is showing another set. So once you know your values and you're clear on them, and call yourself out on this, right? Once you know your values and you're clear on them, then the next question is, what needs to happen for you to feel that value? So once you know what you value, once you know what needs to happen in order for you to feel that value, then you need to look at your actions and the rules that you're creating around it. Am I making it easy for myself to feel this value? Because you can make it easy for yourself to feel happy and like you're enough, or you can make it very difficult for yourself to feel happy and like you're enough. That's your choice, your decisions, and your rules. But the best thing is you create your rules. You create your outlook on life. You create your values. You create your beliefs. Just make sure that they are your own. So today, take some time out. Design your life, design your values, design your beliefs, design your rules, and make sure that all of them create an empowering outlook of your life, other people, and the future. Make it easy for yourself, and remember that we live in a friendly universe. Think that everyone's got your back, not everyone's out to hurt you. That's a belief. Everyone loves me, everyone hates me. That's a belief. So think about what habits do we need to create for success? What beliefs do we need to create for success? What values do we need to create for success? What inner self-talk do we need to create for success? How can we start saying I can versus I can't? Thank you, grandfather. How can you start saying you believe you can versus you believe you can't? Because either way, you'll be right. How do we start saying there's no way I can versus I'm completely committed to trying until I do? What's your language? Like, these are two shifts again. I want to try. I won't even try unless success is guaranteed. That's where most people live. I won't ask the girl out unless I know she's going to say yes, because if she doesn't, it will trigger everyone's most hidden fear that they're not enough. Or I will try until I succeed. I will not give up. What if you believed that whatever happens to you, you'll be okay? What if you believed that everything is always going to work out because the universe has your back? What if you believed that you can do anything that you want, and you told yourself that £500 a day, 500 times a day, not £500? What if you told yourself that you have no doubt, that you have no fear, that you have no limitations, that you have trust, that you have love, that you're a miracle, that you're enough, that you've already won? See how this narrative is starting to change now. Imagine if that was the narrative that you were running every day. Imagine if that was your outlook on your life. Imagine if you imagined that everything that you already want is already yours. You just have to keep going. You have to change I am to the positive. You have to change I will to insert in the goal. And that just comes with taking charge of your thoughts, taking charge of your beliefs, taking charge of your values, taking charge of your actions, and creating an empowering outlook of the world that aligns with all of them. And that's how you will then stop being at the mercy of other people, stop being at the mercy of the situation, stop being at the mercy of the circumstance. And you will start to control the controllables and understand that that doesn't happen by chance, that's a choice. And you will stop fighting reality and stop trying to control the uncontrollables, because that will always lead to anger, resentment and frustration, whereas the other will always lead to fun, joy and fulfillment. So let's change our focus today, change our beliefs, challenge our beliefs, challenge our values, challenge the model of the world that we've believed to be right, and stop fighting with reality. Because we can't change what's happened. We can't change what's going to happen. But what we can change is how we view it. What we can change is what we make it mean. What we can change is the energy that we give to it. What we can change is how we respond to it. And that's our responsibility. You guys know, you've heard me say this so many times, when I can't control what's happening to me, but I can control how I respond to it, that's where my fucking power is at. That's why I can even go so deep as to say, I'm grateful my mum died because she gave me life. That is a perspective. That is a warrior and achiever, not a victim. And it all comes down to focus, perspective, values, and beliefs. I can believe that she died for me in order for me to live and her to live on through me. Through me, not to me. But that all comes down to a belief. That's how I've handled grief. Can't stop anyone dying. Every single one of us fuckers could drop dead tomorrow. In fact, Jess and I were talking this morning about someone who had had that adult sudden death syndrome. That could happen to any single one of us tomorrow. Any single one of our partners, if we had one, could cheat on us. An aeroplane could crash on your house. Your most loved person could drop dead. You could drop dead. We are not in control of that. We're all going to be dust one day. We only have one life. We only have one chance. So surrender to trying to change people. Surrender to trying to control the uncontrollable. and just go for it, because life doesn't happen by chance, it happens by choice. And we can't control life, we can't control people, but what we can control is how we view it, how we respond to it, how we react to it, and how we interact within it. Guys, I love you all. Have a fucking unbreakable day. Neil, sorry I'm late.